So I have two sets of tires that I need to get dismounted and restored. This one's off the 330. This one's, the owner tried to clean up a little bit of it just to see if he, how much the rims would polish up. These go off of a 330. They're Borranis, which they went on a lot of vintage Ferraris of its day. But what ends up happening is the spokes are chrome steel and they get rusty. And unfortunately, there's really not much you can do but disassemble the whole wheel and replace them. So, and the other issue is that the center hub is steel, which is chromed, but what happens is that rusts as well. So the only solution is to disassemble the wheel, take the center hub out, re-chrome it, put new spokes in, and relace the tire or the wheel. That was done, and this is what the wheels looked originally. I think he did a great job polishing the rim just to see how much it would come back. The aluminum does come back pretty well, but as you can see, it's pretty corroded and nasty with the original tires on it. All of them are kind of in this shape, and when the spokes get this rusty, you can see the green from the chrome or the plating. I guess that must be some of the copper underneath showing through, but it really needs to be redone. The other set I have is off of another car. Now these are in much better shape comparatively, but what's happening is the spokes are also rusting and they're not, and they need to be replaced as well. I don't think these will take as much work to take apart and refurbish, but as you can see, the plating in the center is starting to peel a little bit too. So unfortunately, there's no restoration in a spray can that will fix this. It just, the only solution to these wheels is to have them taken apart, re-chromed, relaced with new spokes, and just start from scratch. No easy way around it. I've seen people spray paint them and put paint on them, and it just looks horrible. But with a car, the wheels really set the car off and makes everything look really nice. So it kind of is the only solution. Tires on this car are pretty old too, so we're gonna take this time, since we're gonna redo the wheels, we're gonna replace the tires with new rubber. The other little details on these cars is this car has the original setup with the collars and all that other stuff that Borranis would take. So when we restore these, we'll either replate or we'll take these apart. The little knob comes off. It's a little bit larger of a hole than was original, and we'll try to restore all that. See if I can get this thing to undo here. Unscrews all the way out. See that as it's coming out. And then there's a collar that kind of finishes it off. So that's how these vintage valve stems, you got a bunch of little parts that need to come off before you take the tube out. Once the collar is removed, there's a hole that's actually pretty big. What I'll show you is when you don't do that and you put a regular standard tube in there, the tube actually doesn't fit correctly in the hole that Borrani has. So you have to actually have a grommet that makes up that difference from the modern valve stem. A lot of these cars that don't have them, which I don't like, is that the tube just kind of flops around in there. There's a chance that if the tube shifts when you're driving, the rim, because it's constantly moving around in there, could cut the valve stem. Obviously not a good thing. So you could get these grommets, you put them in, but another detail that people miss is when they put new tubes in these Borranis without the grommet, it ends up looking like that. Just not right. Also, the tires now that are available are correct for the age. These are correct size, but they, I don't even know. These are Bridgestones, and then we have a set of. Let's see where we can find the name of these tires. Can't even see. You know, it says Supreme Radial on it. And then we've got another Supreme Radial. So the tires that we'll put on this car, and here, so this is the original Pirelli. You can see, you know, it says Pirelli on it, and it's the original Cinerado CN72. That's the correct tire for this car. So one tire on this car is the original tire, and the rest of them we'll get new tires. We'll get the reproductions put in. The guys who are rebuilding these, you know, we'll restamp them, get the stamping put in. You know, it looks like, you know, with some of the polishing, the numbers get kind of buffed out of there. So we'll get that restamped, and that's part of taking it to the correct people to rebuild these. Brightworks in Ohio is restoring these things these days, and you know, they have the stamps, they redo all that stuff, so then it gets done. If you send it to another place that just wire wheel or restores wire wheels, they might not have the stamps or know what the numbers that go on it. So then all of a sudden you get them back, they look all shiny, but the stamping is wrong. So you got to know what is right, and send it to the right place to get it all done. But that's the job today. I got to take these tires to my local guy and have him dismount them. You know, I'm not too worried about it. I'll just take them all apart. That way I could put these wheels in boxes and ship them out. But that's the job for today. Speaking of knockoffs, I thought this wouldn't be a bad time to talk about how they come on and off the car. Borrani's get the center lock wheels that a lot of Ferraris have, and they're held on by one nut or spinner. So the way they come off is with a hammer or with a wrench. I'll show you the hammer that I'm probably more comfortable with. I can also show you the wrenches that I've used in the past, and what I like or don't like. But the easiest thing is a lead hammer. But before we get into that, I should remind people that what they tell you to do with knockoffs is you should always knock them or hammer them while the car is on the ground. It takes stress off the bearing. When the car is up in the air and you try to knock on this ear, you actually can put stress on the wheel bearing. So when the wheel is on the ground and you hammer it, it takes a little bit of it doesn't take as much stress against the axle as if it were up in the air. And all that stress that you hammer onto the hub transmits right through to the bearing. So that's the first tip. So wire wheels come off with a knockoff hammer. This is the one that I use. Evidently it's seen a lot of use. Probably time for a new one because it's made out of lead. It's a pretty soft lead, as you can see, so it doesn't damage the chrome or the steel knockoff when you hit it. The trick with knockoffs is, or what I was taught, was to always remember off to the front. So the car's facing that way. To take the wheel off, you always hit it off. To take it off, it's in the front of the ear. So that's the side that you're supposed to take off, because what happens is on knockoffs, the threads are handed, because the way they're supposed to work is that as the car drives, it doesn't try to unscrew itself if you have the same thread direction on either side of the car. So on the left side of the car, to take it off, it's actually normal right-handed thread, but on the right side of the car, it's left-handed thread. So that way, as the car drives forward, it's supposed to self-tighten. So in order to take this wheel off, it's splined, so taking it off while the car is on the ground is not going to hurt anything, but you have to hit this way here. So what I do is just hit it, and it'll start spinning off. And that's basically how you take the knockoff off. To put it back on, it's just the other direction, obviously towards the back. And that's how you tighten it. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell, and like what you see so I can continue doing more vintage Ferrari content. Thanks for watching.